Good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome everyone back. I know I've been at quite of a hiatus because of certain medical reasons, but I'm glad everyone's back. My name is Johnny Farias. I am here with Michael Miller and Community Newspaper, and we're just here to catch up on some updated news. And on the next show, we'll go more into details on other shows that I want to have. But today, I just want to catch up. I've been gone for a while. Michael, how have you been?
Things are good. And the last time I saw you, it really showed what kind of person that you are, that you came here. You had a walker, right?
Yes.
Barely able to get in and out of the car. What it really says about your drive to be alive and the support from your wife is sitting ready over here. God bless her, man, that she was able to put up with the stuff that husbands put their wives through.
Yes.
So congratulations and on making back. I know it was a hard road, but I'm glad to see you're here.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. It's been a tough half a year for my wife, for my family. I tell everybody that, it was hard for me, but being I was like unconscious, and sleeping a lot, I didn't really see much, but they were on the outside. They saw everything that was going on. But yeah, so
let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the world, and the more local it is, the better. So
okay.
tell us what you like to buy. This is totally unscripted, folks, wherever you are. We don't know what we're going to talk about. It's on the hook right here.
Well, look, the two biggest things right now is the immigration and what's happening in Iran and in Israel.
Immigration affects in South Florida, particularly in Miami-Dade County. It is different here. I remember years ago I was at with a bunch of police they had to do some stuff, and some friends of mine who were not documented, they drive up, and the cop looks over to me and says, "You got to live it to understand." And it was like it was all okay, but this administration ran on that. And they've said we're going to go after people that are either not documented at all, but if you have TPS, temporary protective status, right, we're going to withdraw that. Specifically, the biggest number down here are Venezuelans.
Venezuelans and Cubans, yeah.
So those are the two big targets. There are tens of thousands of TPS folks here in Miami-Dade County. And especially in Doral, where there's quite a bit up there. So how would you explain to a person that this administration is doing exactly what they said they were going to do as far as immigration, and now they come to you and to me? I didn't know he was going to do it. So what's that conversation look like?
Well, and yes, a lot of people have asked me that. I'm going to tell you, you can't honestly say that you did not know, because Trump told you what he was going to do. Okay. And you can't get mad at Trump because he said, I'm going to do this. And those people voted for him. And look, we saw on social media, you had the Cubans for Trump, Venezuelans for Trump. So now for you to say, and you see it all the time, especially on social media, I'm upset because they took my son home. Now my daughter can't come here because they removed everything that was approved beforehand. And it's sad. And look, I don't think anybody is in disagreement that we need to control the border. Yes. But what they're doing is very inhumane. Okay. And they're not going after the criminals. The criminals that have been deported are the ones that are already in jail. Okay. They're going after low-hanging fruit, the hardworking people, the people that are at Home Depot waiting for your work, the people in the fields. Because the gang members that are in the street, they won't go after them, because if they do, it's going to get hostile, and they don't want to do that.
So a couple of weeks ago, there was a U.S. senator that wound up getting into a tussle with some
in California.
So they placed the guy down, whatever it was, but they handcuffed him. So at that point, we're looking. So what is next?
Yeah.
What is the next thing to happen? Sure enough, you got that crackpot that went into people's homes and shot them and killed them.
Yeah.
So the big question I have is, what is next in this, where people are really upset, all right, on both sides, all right? And you have people that are standing up because there's certainly a part that's inhumane, right? And there's a lady that I know of, she was with a family for 40 years as their nanny. She just packed up and left. She was afraid. She didn't want to go to jail or whatever it was for a month or two. So she went back to her country, paying her taxes, doing all that stuff. And of course, then it backs up to the people that were paying her. It seems to me the frustration level is very, very high right now.
It is.
And a lot of us are fearful of retaliation by people that are offended.
And Michael, I don't think there is any next, because if you see, you hear already they've deported American citizens by accident. They deported people that are legal here, and then like the gentleman that they deported to El Salvador, and then the judge ordered the Trump administration to bring them back, and they go, oh, we're not going to bring them back because we can't. Okay, they stopped college students. Okay, the senator now in California. I mean, is there anything else left for them to put so much fear in people that are living here?
It is when we went from, let's say, 10 years ago, under whatever administration, things were, it seemed to be in the manageable place, right? Sort of like keeping the teeth in our mouth. You know,
right.
We know we got a problem, all right? We're going to try to keep it. We're going to try to keep things good. But there are people that are afraid, and the employers that sort of winked also, right? They're concerned. I know people that are in the home maintenance business. I'm going to guess that probably half their people are not properly documented, even though everybody could claim they were. Well, so here's what's happened. They've either gotten caught or left. So the people that are taking care of our yards and our roofs and all that stuff, they don't have people to do this.
Nope.
And the thought that, oh, Americans will take that job. What are you talking about? I don't see that, all right? I don't see a bunch of my people that look like me up on the roof fixing people's houses.
And you know, that's always been a scare tactic, you know, insinuating and trying to put into the minds of people that the undocumented or immigrants were taking people's jobs. Because I mean, look, who are they taking? What jobs are they? They're not taking the lawyers' jobs. They're not taking judges or company owners. And like you said, people like us, people, you know, that have worked. And we have our own companies and stuff. We're not the ones that they're going to get jobs from. And who wants the roofer jobs? Who wants to be out there in the fields picking, especially at this time? Look, we have a heat wave through in our country right now. Who's out there picking the fruits and the vegetables? And now, have you been to the grocery store? Do you see the quality of vegetables that we have right now?
No.
They're horrible because people have left. Okay, I know I'm an electrical contractor, and I have two general contractors that have told me that they already while they were traveling on the turnpike, they got pulled over, and they took some other people away. Okay, because and not only the undocumented, but they have people that have, you know, temporary ITFs, you know, and they took them away.
In the old days, we would call that profiling.
Yeah.
And in
the new days, they still call it that too.
I do want to tell you that I met a young lady, you probably know of her. She tells me a story. I think I got it right. Up to the age of 16, she worked in the fields, Homestead, Texas, Pennsylvania. And at some point, she was physically abused by a family member. I think it was by marriage. And they sort of escaped, went to the grandfather, who then also did it. She got out of that. And so somebody took her under the wing. So she goes to Miami-Dade, gets her degree. I think then she went to Barry. And then she got a full scholarship to Case Western, Pennsylvania, I think. And they flew her up. That's when you'd have to fly up 36 times. Well, she was a sexual abuse victim. She now got $500,000 from the Miami Foundation and $1 million from Jeff Bezos's McKinsey Bezos.
Wow.
And now she's opened up in Homestead. She bought a church building, and now she provides services, social services for people. So here we are working in the fields, all right? She was fortunate that she was able to get out. And I'm hearing more of those stories all the time where the parents were working. And so one of the things that we recognize is just because somebody looks a certain way doesn't mean anything other than they look that way.
Yeah.
And we have to be able to, I think, to hold our hands out. And there's somebody I know personally. She is 21. Her parents both were undocumented. She was born here. She's a full-time student at FIU. Her last semester is a junior. She made the honor roll,
Wow.
whatever it is, all A's, and the time before all A's would be. And she's finishing up shortly, and she's going to graduate school. And her parents were both undocumented. And the father kept getting thrown back. He came back 8 times. And I would tell the kids I've known, says, your father loves you so much that he wants to be with you. I said, I want you to remember that, right? And so he kept coming back and coming back and coming back. And then finally, he was down in Mexico and he died from whatever. But here it is, this undocumented. Well, she was born here, but she is now concerned. Are they coming for me? I said, I don't know what I can tell you.
Well, I mean, look, when the Trump administration first started, you heard about that they wanted to take away the birth rate. You know, I mean, all this to scare people, and again, and I want everybody to understand: just because a person is documented does not mean they're bad people. Does not mean they're evil people. There is a lot of undocumented people there that are a lot harder working than the American citizens. I mean, it's true. Okay, because like you said, you don't see people like you out there in the fields.
Too hot.
Too hot.
And I can't bend over anymore.
Yeah, you know, and a lot of them, like I said, they'll be at Home Depot. Can you imagine standing at Home Depot all day, every day, 7 days a week, trying to look for work so you can feed your family?
Tough road. Let's talk about what just happened in Iran with the administration deciding to put, to bomb or whatever. So the question at hand is, I see some of these surveys.
Right.
I was stunned that so many people were against it. All right. So depending on the survey, it was 56%. That's a big percentage who were against it. I happen to be glad. All right.
Right.
But as far as it got done, sometimes we have to look the other way. I think he probably had a right to do that. Unfortunately, it wasn't as productive as we all had hoped. All right. And that's gonna read a whole lot differently if you're on the other side.
Right.
So what's next in the international arena concerning Iran, the United States, and Israel? Any thoughts about that?
Well, I mean, look, to begin with, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. I think that from the very beginning, before even this started, when Israel started bombing Iran, when Trump told them, look, stand down. I'm in the middle of negotiations. Let me take care of this, or let me try to do what I can do. Okay. What Israel do? They did it anyway. Okay. At that point, the smart thing would have been, as the United States would have said, well, look, being that you took it upon yourself, handle it. Because obviously you didn't care about my input. You didn't care about what I wanted. Like your children. You tell your child, look, don't go out, because if you go out, you're gonna, something's gonna happen. Something happens, now after you didn't listen to me, you want to come, and get my help. I would have stayed out of it. Okay. But what Trump did, I think Trump, because he saw that Israel was winning, he wanted to get credit for it. He wanted to get some credit too, and he did what he did. I don't think he should have done that. I think he should have just stayed out of it, honestly. We got some, there's so many stories going out now that you don't know what's true, but the last thing I heard is some preliminary reports that they only stopped the investment of a few months. They didn't destroy,
And I
like
know
they said.
The cost of doing that, financial cost, it's all relative, but it was a lot of money.
It was.
Any way you want to put it, all right? I mean, it was millions and millions of dollars. I don't know how much it was. There was 30,000, whatever, those big bombs and the personnel.
Okay, I saw. I read the report just today, and the Joint Chiefs. They asked the Joint Chiefs of Staff, do we have enough in case something happened? They go, well, no, because we've shot in the last couple of months. We've shot a lot of missiles, to help Israel, and they said that in the low end, $10 million, in the high end, $30 million
For what?
per missile.
Oh.
Per missile. And I was like, wow. I said, that's a lot.
So think about the defense contractors who build that stuff.
Yeah.
It's Christmas every day.
Every day.
And and let's talk about on property insurance. All right. I got my new bill. And it's like I looked at it, okay. And I think the trauma of getting a higher bill, all right, it's not as bad as the shock was. But then I get a message, Michael, don't worry, we found somebody else who was 15% less, but I have to still go buy the report. I mean,
right.
Go pay somebody for the reports. Is that every year we have to get another report?
Yeah. That's what it's boiling down to now. I think they're taking advantage of it. I think we need to do legislatively. We need to do something. They should have it every 7 years or every 10 years, not every year.
Yeah.
I think it's unfair. And as far as the everybody just getting their insurance bills that are high, I mean, did you expect anything? I mean, you really believe that they were going to lower it?
No.
I mean, they spent the last 2 sessions saying they were going to, and nothing's happened.
Listen, 10% is not going to make any difference to anybody.
No.
All right. And it's like, no, we need something 25, 30, 40%, which is probably never going to happen.
No.
And it's like, okay, we got stuck once again. So let's talk about it in the school system. I understand that at Killian High School, there's less than 1,000 students over there. I heard one report it was down to 600 students.
I have not heard that.
In this big school. And I heard that the other day. They tried to get a timeline on it.
Right.
But it was certainly in recent history that it's there because all the kids are going to other schools.
Other schools. Charter schools.
That are brand new, all right?
Mhm.
And they're public schools as much as we don't want to think they are, but it's this quasi privately owned. And one of the things we recognize that's happened down here, because of all the money that's come here, the price of private schools has skyrocketed.
Right.
Because the people coming here, it's not, the money doesn't mean as much because they make so much money.
You know, and look, I think that over the years, the Republicans have done a great job messaging that charter schools are better. I don't think they are. Like, I think the opposite. I think that a lot of parents are sending their kids to charter schools because they fell into they drank the Kool-Aid that charter schools are better and so on and so on, and they're not. All they're doing is taking away from public schools. I'm a big public school advocate. I think we should, that charter schools, if we're going to have them, they should be under the board, under the school board purview, so they can keep track of it. I think we need to track how they spend their money also, and we're not. A lot of teachers there don't have to be certified like they do in public school.
That was an interesting twist on that.
Okay, and some people are saying, oh yeah, they're not board certified to be teachers in charter schools. Okay, in public schools they have to be. They have to have a whole different level. Okay, but being that the Republicans, and I'm gonna say the Republicans have sold this on that, people are believing it, and people have believed it.
So I was thinking, if I had the little kids, I'm thinking, gee, if I have a choice to go to the 40-year-old school or the 4-year-old school, which is brand new, it looks beautiful, I'll be able to say, "Oh, my kid is in a charter school,
right,
and it's better." Is that the conversation?
Yeah, that's the conversation. Yeah.
And we see that unfortunately the students that are left at the public schools, all right, they're around less affluent and kids than before. Because the ones that are affluent have the ability to be driven or wherever it is, and the parents have that connection. So it's a tough road.
Well, I mean, and just one more point on that. I mean, one of the reasons too that public schools are suffering is because, and I'm going to say they're hemorrhaging, because they've taken so much money away from public schools and given it to charter, where public schools can't compete. I mean, and it's not fair. If the things were both on the same level, then we can judge and sit and talk. But when you're taking away from the public schools, okay, and you're leaving them to fend for themselves, it's hard for them to compete with the charter schools.
Years ago, Sunset High had 4,500 students. 3 years ago, it was 1,200.
Wow.
And so now it's a STEM. I think that's what it is, where you go and you learn different stuff. But even at that, so the school was built, I don't know whether it was built for 4,000 or 3,000, but huge buildings with nobody in it. So my question is, if you were a 10th grader, 11th grader, and you're in a school that is 60% occupied, that's 40% empty.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you walk into a mall and it's 40% empty? Who wants to be there? How do you walk past these classrooms and nobody's in it? It's sort of like the feeling that I would get was like, why am I here?
Yeah. Is this school bad because nobody wants to come in?
And it's like walking into a restaurant. Nobody's in there. I'm not going in there.
Yeah. The food is bad.
Okay. So what else we got going on?
Well, I mean, the Alligator Alcatraz.
So why don't you tell folks what's on the table?
Okay.
Maybe.
The as far as I've understood, what happened is that DeSantis wants to build a makeshift, and not even a prison, just tents and shelters to hold undocumented people, on this air base that's between Collier and Dade County. Okay, and it's in and when they told Miami-Dade County, we'll buy from you, ma'am. The Mayor Daniela gave them a price. I guess they said no way, but I'm gonna send you a letter, and I'm gonna take it anyway. I'm gonna use it. This is your notification that we're going to use the place temporarily. Okay, which it's awful. I mean, he's a bully. Our state legislators right now they're bullies. That's all they're doing. Okay, and to hold undocumented people. Why?
So it was going to be a temporary housing.
Temporary
All right,
housing
in the Everglades.
Yes.
All right. I don't know if that meant it was on the border of the Everglades or on the edge of it.
It's on the edge of it. They have an airfield there, but and as I was looking at it, and I can't quote you the numbers, I can't remember all the exact numbers, but at the end of the day, if we have so much extra money to spend on that, let's do the insurance thing then. Let's put that money into the insurance,
Yeah.
so we can help people with insurance. Forget about that. I mean, isn't the federal government taking care of the undocumented people? Why is the state wants to get involved? Did they want to be the heroes too?
Hey, Grant. So Grant Miller's here. All right. He's going to stop in for a moment.
Sure.
And I think he's going to make us laugh here. So Johnny's back. He was had some medical issues 6 months ago. Last
Yes.
time
Mental
I saw
or
him.
physical?
What?
Mental or
Yes,
physical?
exactly.
Both.
And so he's back in action here, and we're glad to see him. And so this is spontaneous conversation. We've covered some local stuff, some schools, some immigrants, and cookies. Oh, by the way, we're having an event here later today. Are we okay over here? Okay, that's Rochelle, who is a school teacher. I love her for it. 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, teaching down in Florida City.
So what's up with your district? How's it going? The county commission seat.
The county commission seat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going fairly well. I mean, I think, in my opinion, it could be doing a lot better, but it's there. I mean, right now, what the biggest thing what we were talking about was this Alligator Alcatraz that I hope the county commission is against and fight DeSantis against it. Trying to build a makeshift shelter for the whole undocumented.
On the edge of the
On the Everglades, yeah.
On the edge.
You ever heard about it?
Yeah, they did it to Japan. They did it to every country. Everybody. Over the years, we've done it. It's wrong.
We have. You're right.
It's wrong.
In fact, I think they've also arrested some Iranians also just recently. It was on the news. They arrested some just in case.
The Ukrainians, by the
Is
way.
that a county issue or is that a
they're
state issue?
Well, I mean, it's a county and state because basically,
Or is it federal?
It should be a federal issue, but we have our governor who wanted to be president, who thinks he's president of Florida, so he basically told the county, here's a letter, and I think I guess Daniela is asking for too high of a price. I think she asked for 150 million or something like that for that property. So instead, the state said, "Well, no. Here's a letter. We're going to use it temporarily, and there's nothing you can do about it." So they're already starting to build. It's underway. And like I told Michael, no, these are a bunch of bullies. And they'll step on anybody, and they don't care.
Let's talk about stuff that we could take care of.
Okay.
Like what?
Let's talk about it. God, don't you live in South End County?
I live in the South End, yes, South Dade.
Commissioner McGee got a soccer program coming down there, a
Right.
Major League Soccer program. I don't know if it's top notch, but they're building a stadium. They're going to give or take 500 to 600 jobs.
No, and that's great. I mean, we need it. We need better paying jobs. But look, it's a start, and I think being soccer is growing, and it gives something for the young children to do.
It's going to be a pro field.
Yes.
Minor
What's
league.
your grandson in the soccer?
He's been into several things.
Okay.
At 10, 11 years old, they go from one to another. But yeah,
Even when they're 60 and 70.
yeah, it's true.
But you're right. It's low-paying jobs, but it's still 500 jobs, so they don't have to drive all the way up
Yes.
here.
And that's what we need. Grant, look, one of my biggest things, even when I did run for commissioner, I said we need to bring more jobs to South Dade, because if we can have them work in South Dade, then there'll be less commute. And with our public transportation that we know is horrible, that'll help.
Let me make it clear. I took the Metro Rail
Right.
at 12:30. I had an appointment at the tax collector's office. I was there in the office at 12:55.
No kidding.
And how many people were on there?
I didn't look. I was running to the rail. Yeah. So it doesn't work for everybody. Unless you live
Right.
next to the rail and work on the rail, it's worthless.
So the conversation keeps coming up in front of me. Now, this is the 3rd or 4th conversation about South Dade recently. And what are we going to do about it? Seems like, I was told this way, it seems like we're cut off from everything. I said, that's the way it's been for 50 years.
Yeah,
right?
no, and look, and the reason why I said about the public transportation, because just recently it got delayed again. The opening from all the way down from Dayland all the way into Forest City. It's been delayed. It's been delayed several times. Now I think now we got to wait till like to 2026 for them to get finished, and they're going over budget. You know,
We have to
so
wait another year.
yeah, yep. That was the last thing that I heard. That we got to wait another year.
Well, in the meanwhile, that shopping mall down there now called, which would be called,
Southland, former
yeah,
Southland.
former Southland Mall. Yes.
so they're starting construction down there. Apparently, they're putting up the apartments first. There's going
Yes.
to be a lot of stuff that's going to go on there. At some
Mhm.
point, there will be.
There's something more important than that.
Okay, let's hear.
What?
Super important.
What?
Flanagan's is going to Cutler Bay.
There you go. How good is that?
And Homestead,
So does that mean the guy's going to come in with the beard and say hi to
I
everybody?
guess.
So for those out in the Homestead area, we're gonna have a Flanagan soon.
Right.
But they got rid of Red Lobster.
What?
You know that, right? They got rid of Red Lobster out there too, right? Which I
Doesn't
like
matter.
Red Lobster.
Flanagan's had Marlins usually have 5,000 to 7,000 people show up, sometimes 10,000. Flanagan's night, 27,000 people showed up at the Marlin game.
It was a Flanagan's night.
Right, you get mugs, you can buy shirts.
Okay.
Wow.
A lot of people love Flanagan's.
So you're gonna let us know when the opening is?
Yeah, Miller.
It's a while. They have to break ground first.
Oh, okay.
So one of the things I've seen recently, which I haven't seen under prior local administration, is that the 4 recently elected officers for the state, which was the sheriff, tax collector, tax appraiser,
Property.
And
appraisal.
property appraiser,
And the election supervisor.
election supervisor, and the clerk of the court and controller, they're on a circuit. They're being called on, come out and talk to us. I don't remember that. When was the last time? What was Harvey Rubin? He was a.
Even
He
the
was,
clerk, he didn't have to go out. But they're all fighting to make sure that their budget doesn't get cut.
Well,
Now, it's a little confusing. The clerk of the court's going to ask for money, but he's going to get money to pay his payroll, but that's less payroll off the county payroll.
Mhm.
So
No,
it's a little
and-
misleading.
And I mean, look what they're doing. I mean, it's. I think that if the people before them would have done that, maybe we'd be in a better situation also. But they're doing the right thing.
yes,
They need to get out there. You know, I mean, that's a good thing to do.
yes, and to have that conversation where people can actually meet them, they know.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't remember the last time any of those folks made it out.
Well, supervisor wasn't elected,
No.
but let's talk about the clerk of the tax collector. There's no lines anymore for driver's license.
that was a big deal.
Well,
You go in, you do. If you can't have a phone, they type your name in. They tell you, all right, Michael, you have a point. You just walk in. You come back at 3:00, so you don't have to wait in line for all those hours.
That was like the worst disaster
Yeah.
you could ever. Oh, you got to go and you got to wait all day.
You got to make an appointment
I got-
2 months.
Bam, he took
2
care of it.
months.
That
Yeah.
easy.
So
Well,
that
look,
was state.
he's streamlined it a lot. You know, I mean, what he did there is good. And again, you know, these are things that should have been done a while back.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
But
you
that
know,
was
they're making
state
us
run.
look bad.
It was state run.
yes.
Yes, it was state run.
Do you think like it was? You think of the other parts of the state were like that, where the local joke was, you know, how many days you have to sleep in the parking lot to get in to get your driver's license?
Yeah, I remember those days.
All right,
What
remember
else,
those
Mr.
days.
Miller?
that's it. I've been on the rail and cars.
All right.
Michael's got me running all over Dade County. Come here,
I got him running all over Dade County. Yeah.
but the Metro Rail,
I think you enjoy that.
not the Metro Rail, it had a sprint over, and all I've been eating. This is it, Michael.
Cookies.
That's all
That-
lunch.
yeah.
Well, in 2 hours you can have lunch on me.
All right, we're
Right.
good.
He's going to come back in a couple of weeks. You can bring some guests.
Yes, I will. I
We're
will
gonna
bring
talk
some
about-
guests. We're going to start
They're
again.
going to talk about the.
Do you live in South Miami Heights?
No, I live right by the Homestead Air Force Base.
Oh, so you're it.
Yeah.
That's where the sports thing's going to be.
Yes.
And that new sports thing is going to also be the host of Yes, Mayor Otis Wallace. It's going to be renaming a street on Saturday.
Saturday.
We'll see you there.
Is that him?
The
I was just
the rodeo is going to be there.
Oh,
The rodeo. They're going to fix the rodeo up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was down there. Behind the airbase, they have a little shooting range down there. I know not many Democrats have guns, but I was coerced.
no.
into
I mean,
That's a misconception.
I
every
like.
other one.
Well, I personally like going to Trailblade still, you know, because they have, you know, it's open and stuff. But yeah.
So anyway, that's it for me.
All right.
Anything? So why don't you sign us out? Look at what camera, red camera. There, you're going to sign us out.
Okay. Well, everyone, thanks again for tuning in. Grant, thank you for coming and stopping by and giving us a quick of what you wanted to talk about South Dade. He's very good about South Dade. Michael, thank you again for having
My
me.
pleasure.
Everyone, I will see you next time. Please stay safe. God bless.